Good morning, folks. This is Deb. We're going to talk this morning, and I want to open it up with an observation. I noticed that when I make videos on certain topics, that my viewership goes down. Okay. Now, when I talk about women and when I talk about the media, those are two instances where my my viewership goes down. But I've got to tell you this: at this particular time in our history, those two topics are two of the most important topics that we can cover in this election. So for this morning, we're going to talk about the women first. And I'm going to ask you to do something for me. If you are a guy and you don't care, and this is not, NIMBY for you, not in your backyard, all I'm asking you to do is share the video. You don't have to watch it. Okay. If you are a woman who thinks you know everything and you're educated and you're aware and you don't think you need to watch another one, then you can share it so that other people can see it, because there are people out there who don't get it yet. And we are now a couple of weeks away from D-Day. So let's talk about women, first of all. Now, I'm not talking to MAGA women here, the Elise Stefanik's and the Carrie Lakes and the Christy Gnomes, the puppy killer, and all the women who are out there on the right who think like them, because they are in a cult, and I am not a professional deprogrammer, so I can't help them. And I have little time left, so I don't want to waste my time on you, quite frankly. So I'm talking about these women who are supposedly still sitting on the fence. So let me make one other comment here before I get into this topic. Anyone who thinks that the economy or, I don't know, uh, you know, any other subject we may have, housing, whatever is the issue in this election, I'd like to just remind you that no matter how many news media outlets and Republicans tell you that it's irresponsible to call Donald Trump a fascist, I'm going to go one step further. I want to remind you that democracy is the only thing on the ballot, because none of that other shit gets solved unless we have a democracy here. Okay. Donald Trump is a Nazi. Okay. There is a person on one side who is promising to govern for everybody, and there's a Nazi on the other side. Plain and simple. It can't be denied. A guy who says he wants more generals like Hitler's, and a guy who actually, now we know, kept a copy of Mein Kampf in his bed, in his bureau next to his bed. Okay, so sorry about this, folks, but let's get back to the women thing. So women who are sitting on the fence. Donald Trump has promised to be your protector. Really? Oh, the guy who took away your right to choose, who is telling you that you don't have the wherewithal or the right to determine what to do with your own body, a guy who was willing to let women bleed out in parking lots. We now have the Attorney General of Texas suing the federal government to get women's medical records. Okay, are we aware here? They're fucking with your Muffin per stone. We don't even know what the outcome of that's going to be yet at the end of the day. And now we have Donald Trump openly stating that they're looking at restricting contraception. So if you think Donald Trump's going to be your protector, you're sleeping. You're asleep at the switch. Okay, you have no clue what's going on here, or you are just choosing to not accept it. So let me just say this: women who are not MAGA but are going to vote for Donald Trump, nothing could incense me more. Okay, let me remind you of something. Of the 6 conservative justices on the Supreme Court, 2 of them have credible accusers of sexual harassment and sexual abuse against them. That would be, Brett Kavanaugh and our little friend Clarence Thomas. Okay. And we had 2 women, Anita Hill and Christine Blasey Ford, who had the courage to come forward on that topic. And what did I see when I watched both of those? I watched women throw them under the bus. Women. And now we have a candidate up there who is a adjudicated sexual abuser and according to a judge who has met the criteria as a rapist. He has over 24 other women besides E. Jean Carroll who have credible accounts against him. He is a friend of Jeffrey Epstein. There are documents out there from Jeffrey Epstein's court filings where Donald Trump is described as having violated a 13-year-old girl. So if you are thinking about voting for Donald Trump, here's the message you are sending to women everywhere. If you are a woman doing that, you don't care about other women. You don't even care about yourself. You don't even have the self-respect to understand what you're doing. You are sending a message to generations of younger women that their rights don't matter, that they are second-class citizens, okay? That you do not care what happens to your daughters, your granddaughters in this country, that you are perfectly okay with instituting a Handmaid's Tale here in the United States, because that's exactly what's going on here. And for the benefit of those people who don't think that Donald Trump's going to pass a, national abortion ban, so you're safe in a blue state. I live in Massachusetts. I know better. I'm safe here right now. If Donald Trump gets in, there will be no state that can fight back legally against the national abortion ban. And if you don't think that Donald Trump's going to do that because he has said that it's in the states where it belongs, you haven't obviously recognized yet that Donald Trump is a fucking pathological liar who has been lying all of his life, but most notably since he took office, day after day after day after day. If the GOP is allowed to continue in power and they send a bill for a national abortion ban to Donald Trump, he will sign it. And it won't stop there. There are people in this country who don't believe women should have the vote. With Donald Trump in office, there is no end to what damage he can do here to the women in this country. The guardrails are gone, okay? All of the guys who worked for him, 40 of the 44 who worked for him in his first administration have refused to endorse him, okay? Don't take my word for the fact that he's a fascist and a Nazi. You can listen to John Kelly or General Milley. They're saying it. They should know. And the Supreme Court has taken the guardrails off Donald Trump legally, because once he's in office, he can justify anything as being part of his official duties as president of the United States. So ladies, let me tell you something. We are in the majority here. 53% now of the population is female. We better start acting like it. It is now or never. We have 2 weeks left. 2 weeks left before this election. And I am watching the crowds come out for Kamala Harris. They need to keep coming out, and they need to show up on November 5th. Now, I don't want to hear any more about sitting out elections or 52% is okay. It isn't. It isn't. When you have Republicans from the other side of the aisle coalescing around this candidate, Kamala Harris, it should be abundantly clear to you where your focus needs to be. I will talk to you all later.